When NieR Automata was released in 2017, it was considered a surprise success for Sony, with how influential it was for video games in the late 2010s and even into the early 2020s. However, when the mod was created in 2022, as well as the initial circumstances of it, captivated the gamer community. But the speculative scenario is this: why was the church in Automata so important? When Automata was released, it was pivotally successful at the time, and it was a surprise success for the late era of the Sony PlayStation 4, as well as the whole premise for the game was far more than what any player had expected from it. Yoko Taro, the individual most responsible for the game, knew that it was potentially a minor success due to the niche aspects of it, but the appeal for the game, and even the extraordinary complexities associated with it, made the title popular across all demographics who had access to it at the time. Even after its release and after the universal acclaim for it, details of lore, circumstances of story, and unique features within the game were continuously being discovered and discussed. All of these reasons were why the church modification was so important at the time. While discussion since the church mod was released is extensively known, what isn't known in the time since were the particular details. At the time, casual interest with the game had mostly disappeared from its initial release. Even with the downloadable content later attached to the game, interest with it had eventually disappeared. Those exact reasons had legitimate aspects of the game being discovered and publicized years after the game's release, but due to the passage of time, there were never any real examples of substantial interest for Automata, like when it was originally released as mentioned. Even the user who originally released information about what would later be known as the church mod was reacted to with skepticisms by the wider community, but the interpretation with the experience for Automata had the community become naturally interested with it. The NieR church later became a massive topic of discussion at the time and quickly became something more than the gaming community of Automata expected, and became a wider topic of the casual gaming community. Even casual video game based news websites made articles about it with their own opinions for what the church could have been, and not explaining the details for the church or sentiment about the church. Finally, it became so much of a phenomenon that Yoko Taro and those involved with Automata's creation learned about the mod, and from information now known, when it was revealed to be a mod and nothing official, it once again polarized the Automata community, with some praising it for being extraordinarily authentic, so much so that when the mod was initially discovered, it was considered too perfect to be fake, while others despised it because of all the attention wasn't for the particular game or people who had played it, but for the modders who had temporary attention from it. When people remember the circumstances of the time before the modification, during the modification, or even after the modification, it's considered a divisive time for Automata for positive or negative reasons.